The fact that you guys have Atlanta Shepherd coming to speak to your group, that's a gift from God, because that woman and her husband Harold, with their son James, started a 7-bedroom hospital at Shepherd Center because there was no major catastrophic hospital to take care of their son. And it is now rated one of the top 10 catastrophic hospitals in the world. So people fly in from China, Russia, from all over the world to go to Shepherd Center. So that somebody needs to grab him a beer and take him out for getting her there. So again, I want to thank Cliff for inviting me to the Rotary Club of North Fulton. I want to talk about a few things, and I'm on a 20-minute time limit, so if I get a little excited, Cliff can kind of give me a little time out if need be. So, Rotary Club of North Fulton. So I like to do my research. I don't like to, hope's not a game plan. I like to do a little research. So it's an honor and privilege to be your keynote speaker today. Special thanks to my friend and State Farm agent, Cliff. So he's giving me a meal, but he also takes my money, taking care of my 2 homes and my motorcycle and my jet skis and my car. So I believe your projects aren't just locally, but they're worldwide as well. A few years ago, you were named Club of the Decade. So Cliff didn't just bring me to any Rotary Club. I think he maybe brought me to one of the best. Yeah, you can give yourself a hand. And congratulations on taking time out of your day to talk about how you, myself, and we can attempt to make our society and the world we live in a little bit of a better place. Everybody has different definitions of success. None of them are right, none of them are wrong. They're all a blend. To me, the definition of success has always been and always will be, it's not the size of your home or how nice your car is, nor is it your W-2 statement. To me, it's quite simple. We are all given a God-given unique ability to work with. When you're fortunate, like some of the people in this room, to achieve some levels of success, the question is, what do you do with your success to help somebody else achieve a level of success that they maybe can't even see, touch, or smell? To me, that's the level of success. To me, that's rich. That's what the word successful means to me. I love this guy, Warren Buffett. Not just because he has a lot of money. He's pretty smart as well. Everybody has parameters when they want to work with people, when they want to collaborate with people, when they want to give money to people, to charitable organizations. Well, I think you should have this quote down pat. Look for 3 things in a person: intelligence, energy, and integrity. If they don't have the last one, don't even bother with the first 2. And if you're not sure, just turn on the news. That reminds you of the world we live in. I always say, character's what you're doing when nobody's watching. When you're put in a situation where you have to make tough decisions, a lot of times things will pull at you. Is it money? Is it, do I want to disappoint my parents? Is it, do I want to make sure my boss thinks I'm doing a good job? And it's not easy to do the right thing. And it seems like this Rotary Club seems to be doing the right thing, so I want to applaud you for that. Human beings battle this every day. Character versus reputation. Would you agree? Worry about your character, not your reputation. Because character is who you are, and your reputation is what people think you are. A lot of times we wind up pouring water in a cup with a hole in it to impress people, to buy things we don't need, to impress people we don't like. My dad always says, son, it's so much easier to conserve energy to just be yourself. Everybody else is taken. There are no mistakes on the path to success. Everybody in this room, we've all got a story. Nobody just woke up. You didn't just wake up in your spot. You didn't just wake up in your spot. You got to go through some things. I don't know if you guys know who Herm Edwards is, NFL coach, ESPN analyst. He does a lot of stuff with kids, and I love this quote. And this applies to adults as well. We are all a collection of our choices. I know who I am today because of the choices I made yesterday. Eleanor Roosevelt. And this is mine. If you forget where you came from, you'll eventually go back to where you started. So when I go to schools and I go to jails and I go to Big Brother programs, they always ask, hey, what would you do different about your life? And they always think it's about football. Well, football got me to school to get an education. That's not the end-all, be-all. It was just a path. It was a piece of a puzzle. And I said I wouldn't change anything, because if you change anything about your upbringing, maybe you don't get that desire to not go backwards. Maybe you don't have that pull at your heart to say, failure's not an option. I got to figure it out. So that's why I'm always a big believer in you just got to remember where you came from, no matter how much money you make or where you live. Sports, extracurricular activities, and education, to me, they go hand in hand. You can't pull them apart. It's like Brunswick stew. It goes together. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm a big quote guy. An idle mind is the devil's playground. Keep kids busy. You'll have better outcomes. Cliff did his part. He took 16 kids to another state, and they all came back safe and not in jail. That's good for parenting. That's very good. That's good. And this is just something that I believe in. Students who do not participate in sports or extracurricular activities are 57% more likely to drop out of school. Our education system is tough. The 3 toughest states to raise your kids is in the South. Alabama, Mississippi, and I believe Georgia is one of those top 5 for education. Now, it's gotten better. We've gotten past that scandal that we had a while back with, I forgot her name, the superintendent. Education is no joke. We don't have room to save money there, not in the classroom. Students who play sports are on time to school more and absent less. That was from We Be the Kings and ESPN. Keep them in the classroom, and you keep their mind and their body physically active, better outcomes, stay out of trouble. This is something my dad always used to tell us: read, write, and speak. He says, son, you want to be successful? You dang well, you better be able to do 3 things. Read, write, and speak. Doesn't matter the order, just do all 3. And my dad worked at General Motors for 44 years back in the 60s as a plant foreman. And to this day, I still learn from him. So the more that you read, the more things that you will know. The more that you learn, the more places that you will go. I don't even have kids, but that's Dr. Seuss. And that kind of goes along with the reading, writing, and speaking as well. So Cliff asked me this question the other day. Why did you start a foundation? Why? What's the point? And I said, why does a 41-year-old man start and personally fund the Todd Burks Foundation one day? And my story is simple. My story is just one of resilience, just like y'all's. Even though I'm from Buffalo, you can tell I've been in the South for a while. Y'all's. Did you catch that? So I was born in Buffalo, New York, on Urban Street, in the city. Mom and Dad said, we're not living here. This isn't a good outcome. This isn't good. So at the age of 6 months old, we moved. My dad built us a house with his bare hands with 4 of his friends in Akron, New York, which is close to Buffalo. And it was in the suburbs. My neighbors were white, Spanish, Filipino, Italian, you name it, all colors of the rainbow. And at some point, my parents realized, if we want to give you a better life, we've got to put you in an environment where you can thrive, and not just survive, but thrive. I grew up on 13 acres, worked on farms at an early age, and I realized what the term sweat equity meant. Hard work and what values mean. Baling hay, working out, running, and riding my bike in the town. Just to go to football practice, I'd ride a bike to get to town. So that helped develop my muscles, which helped in football as far as strength and coordination. So yeah, I used to bale hay, shuck corn, and shovel, you know. And it was, I believe, on this farm where we were born, my grandmother left my dad 13 acres. Looking at my time, Cliff. Where the story of my life, I think, is where the movie started. Rudy. You guys have seen the movie Rudy? Rudy Rudiger goes to Notre Dame and wants to play. Just so that you know, our family was the first black family in an all-white school district. So I won't repeat some of the names that I was called, but you can imagine what they were. And I figured out at an early age, life isn't fair. Fair is a place where you judge pigs' weight.
Is that yours?
Huh?
Is that yours?
That's mine. That's mine. And any of you guys can plagiarize, you can use any of these. So I figured out at an early age that I didn't even wear tank top shirts until my junior year in high school, because I did not want to attract any more attention to myself. We were already the first black family in an all-white school district, and I was more physically developed because I got held back in first grade, like reading comprehension, so I had to go to summer school and all that. So 6th grade, parents split up. Sports kept me busy and kept my mind off the problems at home. It was that simple. You can laugh. You like that haircut.
Nice, bro.
So that kind of playing soccer helped get me in shape for football. I've since now, I'm not a big hair guy now. I think hair's overrated a bit. So education plus sports, to me, equals a shot at college. So I went to University of New Haven, like Cliff mentioned. So at New Haven, I go from Buffalo to New Haven. Weather, bad. Didn't get any better, no improvement. The girls were not attractive. The weather was horrible. Our football facilities were horrible. We had to walk a mile in our sneakers to change to put football gear on and practice on rocks and dirt. I watched all my children. That's what I scheduled my classes around, all my children. I'm secure in my manhood, so I can say that. But it was the perfect environment for a kid with no rules, where the professor could care less. If you come to school, he'll give you an F as the grass is green. The outcome was I received 2 3.0s both semesters, recognized by Minority Student Affairs. I was named Rookie of the Year as a freshman. I was named first team all New England as a freshman, and I started at safety. And I became the BMOC. Anybody know what that means? The big man on campus. And then my dad always talks about ego. Make sure you keep it in check. I wasn't happy there, though, so I transferred to the University of Central Florida. It was out of state. All they could do was waive my out-of-state tuition. Parents were divorced. Mom couldn't afford college. Football was my ticket, and I wrote it. So my mom took out a $14,000 loan, which unfortunately she defaulted on. So my gift when I was done playing football, because I went and played football 6 credit hours before I graduated, because when you're in shape and you're fast, you go. You don't wait. Your body's not going to wait. So when I was done playing football and teaching, $204.92 was what my monthly mortgage payment was, what my monthly student loan payment was for 5 years. And then I got a job in the pharmaceutical industry with Novartis, never missed a payment, paid off my loan that my mom defaulted on. So when I go to kids or I go to jails and I speak to kids, they're not going to listen unless you've walked somewhat in their shoes. Well, I've got a platform. NFL, CFL, AFL, Walter Payton, met him on a plane. My first agent was arrested on tax evasion. Meet Walter Payton, he makes a call, boom, get a tryout with Chicago Bears. So when I go talk to kids, I tell them it's not just what you know, it's who you know. Treat everybody with respect, and you never know what somebody can do for you just because of the timing or where you're at. I'm a big believer in the harder you work, the luckier you are. And then put my degree to work, got a business administration, and I minored in health and criminal justice, which kind of served me well in the pharmaceutical and medical industry. My first job after playing football, any guesses?
I do after Cliff said.
What is it?
Teaching.
Very smart.
Ding, 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 ding.
So I was in the classroom. Who would ever thought that I'd be a teacher? I didn't. But when I was playing football, I was a guest speaker, and the principal said, hey, when you're done playing football, you just interviewed for your first job. So, of course, I kept his business card. When I was done playing football, I called him. I was teaching at-risk middle and high school kids in Orlando, Florida, a place called Excel Private Industry Council. Very difficult, but because most of the people in the class kind of looked like me, and I had played football, and I could speak, and I was somewhat educated, and my parents did a good job raising me, it was a good environment, but I could only last for 1 year, and then I got into pharmaceuticals because teaching is tough. And that was back in the day when kids respected authority. Now, I probably would be in the backseat of that car riding with the police officers if I had to conduct a classroom today. So teaching and coaching works with young minds. It's not a hobby, it's my life. So I worked at-risk middle school, coached at Colonial High School, ran and organized several Big Brother programs. I'm certified by the state of Georgia to speak at the Department of Juvenile Justice and Recidivism speaker. I've been a platform speaker for Bill Gates NFL Behind the Walls at Eastman Youth Detention Center. I've done several talks on Lunch of Champions. I'm a member of the National Speaker Association. You won't be able to read these, but I put them on your table. So the foundation, my business card, and the for-profit. So there's 2 sets. The Todd Burks Foundation is for tackling education, athletics, and health and wellness. That's my nonprofit, which is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. And then the for-profit is the Underdog 34 and Associates, where I keynote speak, breakout sessions, motivational speakers, mentoring, facilitators, and corporate functions. The Todd Burks Foundation Underdog 34 and its Board of Advisors recognize the serious nature of juvenile incarceration and recidivism. It's a big problem. I think everybody recognizes that building more jails is not the answer. The answer is changing kids from the shoulders up. Those 6 inches between the ears need to be changed, and here's why. If your best thinking gets you in jail, you can't rely on that same thinking to keep you out when you get out, or you'll be a career criminal. You'll go from youth detention to an adult facility. So if we don't intercede and we don't do anything and we keep doing the same old thing, Albert Einstein, definition of insanity. Our research found 4 different levels of juveniles. Juveniles currently incarcerated. I'm just going to read the bottom one. The cost of the average 9 and 12-month stay for one youth in jail is $66,000 to $88,000. I'm not that bright, but you can get an apartment and go to college for a little bit cheaper than that. Juveniles on probation, based supervision from an article in the Gilmer Mirror. Young people's futures can be determined in an instant. One wrong turn left or right of the road. We can better, data shows we can do better to help our youth and move our state forward by investing in community-based alternatives rather than commitment to state facilities, building more jails. Based on 2008 data from the state of New York and the nationwide expenditure of $5 billion to confine youthful offenders exactly chicken feed, that's a lot of money. The third and the fourth categories, juveniles on the verge of finding themselves in the juvenile justice systems, the third and the fourth. Those still too young to be in trouble with authorities, hopefully. They're on the edge. They're on the border. I personally believe that the best place to have an opportunity to reach juveniles is the last two categories. I say this because once a juvenile is in the system, history suggests rehabilitation is difficult. But what if there was a more proactive approach to this situation? What if we could turn some of the juveniles around on the edge of winding up in the system, more than likely lost forever? Because once you're in the system and you got the stigma, it's hard to get it off. If any of these facts and statistics strike a chord, please feel free to pull me aside and let's talk. My minor is in criminal justice. And also spending time and actually riding with the police and riding with the K-9 units. Hey guys, and ladies and gentlemen, if you've never done that, please don't ever try to think you understand what a police officer does on a Friday or a Saturday night in downtown Atlanta. You pull somebody over just for a speeding ticket, they have a warrant, they can shoot you, game over. And these police dogs, these Malinois that are in Germany, they $40,000, $50,000 to train them, to unite them with their handler. You know, the officer that I rode with, you know, he has to keep drugs in his trunk to keep his senses heightened. And on some of the rides we went on, it's just sad. And most of them, 15, 16, 17, 18, now pulled over adults as well. Being a police officer, very tough. And until the judges, the district attorneys, the prosecutions, all people involved in that go to the table with a better solution, we're just going to keep getting the same old, same old. Turn on the news tonight and you'll see, it's not good. Adopting a needy or at-risk school, that's my dream. So when I mentioned this to Cliff, he mentioned you have a relationship with a school called Mimosa Elementary in Roswell, Georgia. It's an underprivileged school that y'all support. Mimosa Elementary could be an example of us partnering the foundation with the Rotary Club of North Fulton to combine our resources to assist the school. I'd be more than willing to meet with principals, administrators, teachers of the school to come up with a plan of y'all's if y'all so chose. If any of you would like me, if any of you like me watch the news at 6, you're reminded of the difficulties and the challenges that students and student athletes face on a day-to-day basis. It's hard being a kid nowadays. You know why? It starts at the home. It takes a man to raise a son, and it takes a woman to raise a daughter. And sometimes mama's doing both, or daddy's doing both. And the outcome is not good. Example, a partnership with Mimosa Elementary. So bike donations on behalf of the Todd Foundation in conjunction, you see my little abbreviation? I got tired of writing it. Rotary Club of North Fulton. I'd like to possibly speak at a school or at a school assembly. I'd like to surprise some kids, a boy and a girl, to come up on stage to receive the bikes. We could work with teachers, principals to find what would be the best criteria to give the bikes away. It could be grades, it could be attendance, and have their parents or their caretaker, aunt, grandma, aunt, it doesn't matter what their title is, there, surprise them to join them up on stage, because you'd be surprised what a little pat on the back can do for a kid's momentum, or just their psyche. Anybody who has contacts with the PTA of this school or any other deserving school, please just let me know. So this is one of the bikes. It's a partner example of our partnership example. It's Mimosa Elementary, if we were just so to choose to do that. It's a female bike. It's worth $650, and it's in my garage. I'm cleaning out my garage, and I want to get rid of it. So instead of give it to Goodwill that don't know where it's going to go, maybe we can partner and give it to a school, maybe Mimosa or a different school. And then that's the boys' bike. That's actually my bike, but I don't ride anymore. I got a different bike. And that's Saddleback GT, and it's about $450. So that could be a male gift that we could possibly partner to give. I'm done, and Cliff, it's only 1:07 with 3 minutes to go. So thank you very much for your attendance. Cliff, thank you for inviting me. I very much appreciate it.